And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll make it clear, I'll state my case, of which I...
There you have it.
Well, happy Sunday. Oh, look, somebody loves your educational streams.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. As always, Mo, always good to see you. Mo and I did a space last night on chapter 7, or yesterday morning, actually, on chapter 7 of Yahweh to Zion. God bless.
Thank you. Woo!
And you guys can check it out on my profile on X, or you can go wait until I put it up on the Substack. Substack is up to chapter 4, and I'll post chapter 5 sometime this week. Guys, don't forget that the Spies Who Cried Genocide series is ongoing, which should be probably about an article a week as I keep my resident Nigerian journalist chained to the radiator. But this is a really interesting investigative expose on the Christian genocide narrative and the weaponization of terrorism in Nigeria's Middle Belt. And so right now, while the propaganda is ramping up for Trump is eyeing Nigeria again, he mentioned it again this week. That's a really good article or series of articles to kind of sink your teeth in. But other than that, things have been a little bit quiet. Not for you. What have you got going on?
I have a lot going on, and the next few days are going to be big. So everybody stay tuned. I'm not going to reveal any secrets yet. But as you all know, Tuesday's the day. Everybody is watching Tuesday.
We're also watching you on Tuesday, I think. We'll be watching you. Tuesday's the day for you too, right?
Yes, but we won't get into details.
No details there. Just your D-Day is Tuesday as well. Guys, yes. Also, when you have a chance, go check out the shop, ddgeopolitics.com/shop. And if you have any funny design ideas, I know people were asking me for more Palestine designs. We'll work on those. But of course, we have, as always, we've had this design. We were repping Shahed before like Shahed was Shahed. It was back in 2023. When we were singing the praises of the Shahed. And again, don't forget to subscribe to our Substack. It's just me and Chris for now, but we have obviously a wonderful guest.
Shout out to Brother Aaron. Shout out.
Oh, is that who cut your hair?
I know who it is. I know who it is. My brother. Big bro.
But before we get our guest on, we're going to talk for a little bit. Obviously, we played the Trump's recent post on Truth Social. It didn't have the nuclear mushroom cloud at the end. I think our producer added that. But yes. What do you make of Trump's? I mean, I don't really read into too many of his tweets. I kind of take them with a grain of salt and laugh and make fun of them. I mean, what do you make of Trump's My Way post?
I think it's listen, I think it's deeply disturbing. I think the man has lost his marbles. And we're in for a wild ride. Tuesday is the day when the ceasefire ends. Mm-hmm. Which means if Trump doesn't have a deal and he's caught off guard, who knows what he could do? Could he give an order and say destroy all the electrical facilities? Could he give an order and say destroy the all the bridges? I mean, this is a real serious concern. Real serious concern. So I think that we need to be aware of this. I think we have to understand that Trump wants to always look good and does not want anyone to make him look bad. And if he doesn't get a deal, I think it reflects also poorly on him. And I don't think he likes that. I think he takes it personally. He has a grudge about that.
A friend of mine, Lewis, messaged me and asked if I could get one of the Iranian embassies or someone to retweet back at Trump and use Frank Sinatra's "That's Life." That's life. So if any of the Iranian embassies are listening, that's your clap back. That's your troll for today. Thank you, Lewis. And I'll hit up one. I know somebody in the embassy in Islamabad. Maybe I'll text him and tell him to post it. But I don't always get all of Trump's posts as signals about Iran, I also thought that the My Way thing could be, because there's clearly an internal struggle going on inside of that administration. And I am getting the vibe that it's this sort of
Trump, is it against Israel?
No, never. I'm talking about inside America. No. I'm talking about the oversaturation, overproduction of elites inside of the United States government apparatus and the bureaucracy. And I see that Trump kind of plays Rubio in the State Department against the Vance faction a lot. And I think that there's a little bit of that going on too, where Trump's saying like, F you, I'm not going to do things the way that you want me to. I'm not going to defer to you guys. Possibly, or it means that he's going to blow us all up in a fiery inferno. Meanwhile, and I think I've told people about this before, about my weird dream, which was, this was a reoccurring nightmare I had through the fall of 2025, was that there would be like an Eyes Wide Shut type dinner, not like gross sex stuff, but like The Mask, like The Shining, like a weird masquerade ball. And it would be in the ballroom. And then at the end of the whatever, they would be like, okay, it's time. And all of these freaks would go into this bunker and they would just blow us all up. Well, we find out this week that the ballroom is actually a bunker. So,
oh my God.
I don't know that I'm psychic or just I can sense what's going on. But we've been saying that for months, but finally it came out this week. So that's not the only thing. I don't know if we've even seen each other since Trump posted himself as Jesus, have we?
No, we did, because we commented on it, if you remember.
Okay, right. Well, we made fun. Did we make fun of the doctor thing?
But I don't know if you saw that the Iranian embassy, I think one of them retweeted a picture of Jose Marti as a doctor. And that was perfect. That was epic. That was...
The Cubans really went wild on that post. It was really funny. So I think we figured out why Trump said it. He thought it was him as a doctor. And this is because Caroline says that's a doctored image, which clearly it's a doctored image. It's AI, but whatever. So she says that's a doctored image. I think they told Trump to say that's a doctored image. And in his scrambled eggs brain, he just came out with, I thought it was a doctor. And that was it.
So crazy.
But anyway, in playing with that, Trump has come out, and I also wanted your opinion on some of this other stuff. Trump has come out and kind of tried to squash the drama that followed with the Christ picture. He was getting away with attacking the Pope because it was just defending the Catholics. Then the Jesus thing got a little hairy and he had to pull back a little bit. Right. And so we got Bible, America Reads the Bible this week. Did you hear about this? So we're doing a Bible reading the entire week in Washington, D.C. The entire Bible will be read, and each section is assigned to a person, probably some Protestant or Jewish freak that sucks up to the Trump administration, and they're all going to read the Bible. Well, Trump obviously has to participate now because he claimed he was Jesus. So he has to kind of bow a little bit. And so he's reading from the Old Testament. Thank you, ACP American. According to the Old Testament, obviously the Old Testament, because that's who's picking it. He's reading about Solomon building the temple.
Oh my God. We're here again. We're here again with the third temple, red heifers and sacrifices ready to come your way.
Right. So now he continue to get away with attacking the Pope, right? Because now he's going to pander back to the Jews and the Protestants with their third temple, revelations, whatever they do, rapture stuff. So that's where we're at again. But I also wanted to run this by you because now that I kind of set all that up, Trump's attack on the Pope is also an attack on J.D. Vance, not because J.D. Vance is a Catholic, but because J.D. Vance is not a Catholic. And he has to expose and show his ass if he wants to defend himself or defend the Pope. That's why he did it. It puts J.D. Vance on the back foot, and he'll continue doing it. And that's why I'm seeing like J.D. Vance gets to go to the talks that he knows are going to fail, while him and Rubio are like barfing on each other and hitting on men. And like Vance gets stuck with the stuff that's going to fail, and he gets the Pope attacked. And Vance is the token Catholic who's stuck sort of either defending the Pope or defending Trump. And so he chose to sort of defend Trump, and now he's no longer can no longer claim Catholicism. You're not a Catholic once you place someone above the Pope in authority on earth.
Isn't it strange? It almost feels like a hazing tactic. I'm trying to think. There's a term for this, like when you try to do this to somebody. I'm trying to remember the term, but in any case, this is certainly also like, it reminds me of Trump's background with his lawyer. Do you remember who was his mentor? Roy Cohn. This is a total Roy Cohn move. This is right out of their playbook, you know?
All of his actions lately are out of the Roy Cohn playbook.
Really? Yeah. Really. So he's taken, you know, he's like, if I'm going down with the ship, I'm going to take everybody down. And actually, I'm going to look the best out of this sinking ship, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. But, you know, we're okay now that with the Christians are cool because Trump's going to read about the third temple. Paula White is doing her thing. And J.D. Vance sided with Trump over the Pope. So the Protestants have claimed to win. Now, this picture is making the rounds today.
There we are.
It's probably the most shared picture today on X, I would say. And I'm not really sure why the Israelis are trying to defend or are trying. Actually, they're saying we will investigate it. Why are you lying now?
Look at that Judeo-Christianity. I love it. You know,
this is ISIS, by the way. This is vanilla ISIS.
Well, ISIS and the IDF, IOF are the same thing.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that the Protestants, the more fervent ones, probably the more, you know, we should just call them Judeo-Christians to make it clear. Those guys are saying, well, it's idolatry. They should smash it. They did something good. So that's
idolatry?
Protestants, like the evangelicals in the United States.
Right, and this is the Calvinist route, right? Because Calvin, when he had the whole, you know, bang up in Geneva, what did he do? He destroyed all the Catholic statues and icons.
Right.
So this iconoclastic tendency, which ISIS has, Wahhabi Salafi jihadism has, is also the same that the IDF has, right? That the Zionists have towards any other religion, and that the Protestants have, a lot of them. That are the more you know, you could say extreme in their interpretations around images. They're not like, of course, Anglicans have images, Lutherans have images, Methodists, but when you get to the Calvinists and, you know, Presbyterians and that style, oh Lord. So for me, this is why this is also bullshit. This crusader imagery, let's unite Christians of, you know, Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox persuasion. Yeah, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. First and foremost, we're going to fight each other like we already did. And there's no way. And have you ever seen a Shia Muslim destroy a Christian monument? Have you ever seen a Shia Muslim destroy an icon of Jesus or the Virgin Mary or statue?
Shia understand aesthetics. They are aesthetic people. Like,
no, of course. I mean, for half of my family, they're always like, oh yeah, they're basically crypto Orthodox, you know?
Yes, exactly. They understand aesthetics.
Okay, you know, but no, this is really serious.
Well, it is, and especially because I want to show, because make note of the location. It's in southern Lebanon. We already knew that Israel wanted southern Lebanon for themselves, but we have to make sure that these images get out there, because people are under the impression that they're cleaning out some Shia terrorist communities, and it couldn't be further from the truth. And that, you know, there's some weird Judeo-Christo alliance, and that also couldn't be further from the truth. So these images are important to show, especially like your normie American, I don't know what else to call them, I don't want to be insulting, but, you know, your everyday Americans that don't get on X or aren't in these algorithms to see this sort of thing. When we talk about ISIS, we don't say Muslims, right? We always designate them as ISIS or terrorists, or maybe some people will get a little liberty with it and say Salafists, you know, and they get into those language, but they rarely ever call them Muslims. So we really shouldn't be calling these Christians Protestants, because that washes a whole monolith. They're, I guess, calling them Judeo-Christians or Protestant extremists or something like Calvinists. I don't know what to call them, but I just want to make it clear that we're not insulting the mainstream and mainline Protestants. You guys are fine. So,
a lot of them are fine.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of make that designation, but yeah, and also show this to people who think that they're like cleaning up Shia Muslim. They don't even understand the difference between Shia and Sunni. But people that think they're cleaning up Muslim terrorists in southern Lebanon, no, they're ethnically cleansing some of the oldest Christian villages on the face of the planet.
Yeah. They were Christian there before they were Christian in France or UK or Germany or Sweden. So
why does Israel want to erase our history?
Why do they want to erase? I wonder why. Maybe it has something to do with that, boiling in feces,
Yeah. But anyway, in other news, Bibi, his trial is canceled.
Oh, would you look at that? The court cancels Netanyahu's testimony. By the way, did you see Tucker's documentary?
No, Bibi Files, what's it called?
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched it.
It.
Should I watch it? Maybe I'll watch it.
It was very good. It was very good.
Yeah,
and I think the purpose of him going, I'm trying to think back now. I think the purpose or part of the reason why he went on that trip to Israel was also they interviewed so many people, former Israeli prime minister, former Israeli politicians, Israeli investigators, and really the level of corruption is just through the roof. And it connects Adelsons. It connects everybody. And like the quote of the documentary was, you don't see the Netanyahus without a gift.
What kind of gift do they want?
Oh, they were getting boxes, like crates full of the finest champagne, the finest cigars. And Bibi kept on, like, as he's being, like, it's kind of strange because it's like Israeli versus Israeli, and you want them both to lose. But in the context of the files, you watch the documentary, you're like, come on, police, get him, because they're like grilling Netanyahu. Netanyahu is there like a cornered like rat, like, oh no, it's a gift. I don't know how much it's worth, and I don't know this and that. And it's funny because they're fighting each other, so it's like the meme, let them fight. You're like, yes, tear each other apart. But it's wild. That's
happening here. There's people around Trump, and Trump himself are selling off access to himself or pardons or they do it here too.
How about the insider information? There's been billions of dollars made on the derivatives market and on like these kind of betting pools.
730 million on Friday alone.
I mean, who's getting that information?
He's telling people. He even told people the other day at a dinner, he was like, buy that stock. I don't remember what stock it was, but he's telling people. He tells them pretty blatantly. And I mean, I guess at this point, if you're if you're watching, you have to recognize the pattern of Trump, fucking with the market on Friday. And I didn't say JD Vance placed himself above the Pope's official teachings. I said JD Vance backed Trump and told Pope to stay out of politics.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't talk to the Pope like that.
Don't talk to the Pope, Papa Leone. No, even Giorgia Meloni said, I can't do this.
It's like Pontifex Maximus for a reason. Maximus. Ain't nobody above that Maximus.
And we're not, and that's the thing about Americans. And I, as an American, I do it. I'm probably guilty of it too. There's a such thing as just having respect for the sake of having it. And respecting an office and title. Like, not everything needs to be questioned. Not everything needs to be like belittled and you're no better than me. Like, it's just they don't have respect for tradition. They don't have respect for anything. Heritage. It's just strange. It's like, okay, well then, and then the way that they talk, it's like, he's not even your Pope. If you're not a Catholic, he's not your Pope. What is the need to talk about him like that? It's very bizarre. It's like, it's like performative cruelty.
Yeah. A humiliation ritual, as somebody put in the chat, right?
It's backfiring though, but it's a bit of a humiliation ritual. It's definitely backfiring. Okay, what else do we have for today? This is Trump's. I didn't even read this. Oh. Yes.
Look at this. No more Mr. Nice Guy. And then, of course, at the end, what do we have? It's time for the Iran killing machine to end. Once again, we're back at square one. Regime change is back on the menu. Change is back on the menu.
And is he talking about the Indian ship? Do we have that recording here? No, we don't. But that was funny. See my navy. See my
I heard that. I heard that.
It was so funny.
What was the name of the ship? Lakshmi something? Lakshmi? And then he's like, oh, yes, sir, I'll turn around.
I'm sorry, but it was really, I feel so bad because I don't want anybody to get hurt, especially if they're following Trump's retardation. But oh my God, the clip is just insane. And what it says, yes.
This is big news.
Yeah, this USA. And we'll ask our guest when he does get here about it. So maybe I should say
this is relatively, I mean, this is 9:23 p.m. Here we are. And that's major. That's major. Seizing an Iranian tanker like that by blowing a hole in it. I mean,
yeah, we'll ask Sammy about it. And here's a photo of Hezbollah and the IDF.
For Americans, they would say Hezbollah is the left-hand picture, but actually it's the right-hand picture, and the Israelis are the left-hand picture. So there you go.
If I had when I went to Iraq, they actually gave me a plaque of Fatima, but it's in the style of, well, she's always kind of in the style of Mary. It's very, very beautiful. So I just wanted to say all that, but I am fervently waiting for our guest to get here. But before that, this guy is another closeted homosexual. This is him today.
Absolutely everything's on the table, and the president's made it very clear he is prepared to de-escalate this conflict, as he should be. But I just want to get ahead of this other ridiculous and frankly irresponsible narrative that this would somehow constitute a, quote, war crime that we've heard from Democratic politicians, the media, and others in the international community. That is wrong. It's irresponsible. And we have a long history of taking down bridges, power plants, and other infrastructure that is powering Iran's military, and they have a long history of conflating civilian and military assets, including hiding weapons caches, rockets, and military hardware in schools, hospitals, and other civilian neighborhoods, which is a war crime on Iran's part. So I just want, we just need to knock that down and stop that irresponsible rhetoric.
But as you know, some Iranian advocates are urging the United States not to target civilian infrastructure. Are you saying the United States is okay targeting civilians, the people of Iran?
Number one, a quote Iranian advocate that is advocating for a regime that literally just machine gun 30 to 40,000.
No. People who are opposed to the regime.
Everything is backwards. We're going to escalate to de-escalate. War is peace. I'm fixing everything.
It reminds me of the Rumsfeld era. Do you remember? We have known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. And I'm like, what? What is he saying? What is this? Okay, known knowns is a tautology. Unknowns is a tautology. What the hell is unknown knowns? What?
Known unknowns and unknown knowns.
Yeah, like what? So when you hear that kind of stuff, we're going to escalate to de-escalate. Just like Trump says, this is war number 9 and 10 that I finished. And it's like, yeah, but you started the war. And then you claiming to end the war doesn't give you the victory that you think it does. Right?
This is all very, dare I say, Zionist. This is very Zionist. This weird inversion of everything. Yeah, it's very Ukrainian. There we go. I'm trying to clean up my act here. It's very Ukrainian, this inversion of sort of reality and the truth. Like, it's mind-boggling. You know, genocide is peace. We're I don't even know what they say they're doing in Lebanon. War is peace. Unknown knowns. It's all just inversions of reality.
No, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And when you hear that kind of, and just look at, again, we have heard this we've heard it way longer. We've heard it for decades, but especially since October 7th. They're hiding weapons. They're hiding missiles. They're hiding this. They're hiding that ammunition in schools, in hospitals. No, bro. No. They have underground facilities. They have military bases. They don't need to hide them anywhere. But again, to justify.
Both can be true. Iran will be hiding missiles inside of a school in Manab, but they also have the most technologically advanced missile cities underground. Like,
What?
Would be the Cardi B.
It doesn't make sense. People have to start. I mean, people now are aware of the bullshit more and more. Thank God. People have woken up. When we were talking back in the day, nobody listened to us. They're like, what are a bunch of conspiracy theorists, bunch of, puppets of this regime, that regime, terrorist lover, blah, blah, blah. And now people are saying, well, wait a minute. What are we doing over here? And think about how deranged it is. Think about, if you were to tell me 4 years ago that Trump would be president and go after Candace Tucker and Alex Jones, I wouldn't believe it.
I would call you crazy.
You literally say that something's wrong with the,
But with these people, I always keep in the back of my mind that there's a possibility that it's just kayfabe.
No, it could be. Who knows? It could be, I don't know, it could be some like deep level, psyop, CIA controlled thing. But let's just take it.
But also, let me throw this out there. Those guys some of them are part of the Vance universe because they're part of the Thiel universe. So they might be catching some of those strays as well.
No doubt about it. I'm not denying that. What I am saying is that when the enemy starts to make mistakes and starts, internally feuding and going, why not? Sit back, get the popcorn and let it happen.
Exactly. Let them fight.
Let them fight.
Also, a thing I noticed today is they are really ramping up the rhetoric against Turkey.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? I saw a couple of Israeli posts today. Israeli official posted that Turkey was like the greatest threat to Europe. But I thought Iran was. But I thought Russia was.
Russia was. What about China?
China.
What about immigrants from Africa?
North Africa. So actually, it's now Turkey who is responsible for the influx of immigrants into Europe, even though Turkey has the most immigrant or refugees of any nation on earth. What is going on? If anything, and I'm not even a Turkey fan, if anything, Turkey stemmed the tide a good deal, a great deal from washing completely over Europe. It's so funny. But what do you make of this sort of new campaign against Turkey? Is it just to get some their foot in the door in Syria? Or what?
No. Actually, can we put up a map? Let's see if our producer can put up a map of the Eastern Mediterranean. That's what I need.
Look at it. He's like, damn it, I had to work. You can see.
I need a map of the Eastern Mediterranean, preferably with, all those countries in the Eastern Mediterranean. So a little bit zoomed out view. We're gonna go through and try to break it down for everybody so that they can really understand what is going on, what's sort of behind all of this. And I think that when you look at geography, economics, natural resources, control over certain areas and waterways and bodies of water, and then you bring about then on the layers of that, the history, the different conflicts that have emerged, then you begin to understand the situation a lot better and more clear. And that I think will be very, very helpful for us. We're gonna wait for it just a couple seconds here for it to come here. I could also screen share. What am I doing?
Yeah, you could have done that, but I think he has it. There you go.
Oh, we have it. All right. Okay, now, but what kind of map is this, bro? Are you nuts? Bro, Parthian Empire. Our brother took us back in time, fucking thousands, more than that. Parthians were way before. We're talking 700-800 years ago. Damn, bro. Gonna take you on an ancient history lesson here. Here, I'm gonna share. Hold on. I'm gonna share a few things here because this is gonna be very, very interesting for everybody to understand. Okay, this is actually what we are looking for here. All right. So let me open this up in a new tab. Okay, Bomba. I loved it. I love it. Okay. Can everybody see this?
Ah.
Okay. Now, here we go. So first and foremost, the Eastern Mediterranean has a lot of history here. But most importantly, we have a few interesting conflicting interests. The first one is exclusive economic zone, also known as EEZ. So the EEZ, which is about, I think it's 200 or 250 nautical miles from the continental shelf, like from basically your the start of your shore, and it has something to do with continental shelf. Anyway, in any case, 250 or so nautical miles. Let's just double check. I think it is 200. Sorry, 200 nautical miles. So you have territorial waters. Territorial waters is up to 12 nautical miles, but 200 nautical miles is your exclusive economic zone. That's where you can explore and explore for natural resources like oil. There's that pesky three-letter word again, oil. So take a look at this. So first and foremost, there you have Turkey. And now I just want you to look at this map. What is a problem for Turkey in terms of 200 nautical miles?
Greece.
Yeah. So this is the classic problem. Yes. So we have blue homeland on one side, and then we have the Greek lake on the other. So because Greece controls hundreds of islands in the Aegean, and because each island has 12 nautical miles plus then an extended 200 nautical miles, that turns the entire Aegean into a Greek lake, which basically means that if Greece were to, as I said before in another stream, if it were to pursue the 12 nautical miles, which it doesn't because it would create a war situation, if it pursues 12 nautical miles, literally there's no international water really to get around in that area. You'd have to literally skirt the coast of Turkey just to get around. And that would be Turkish waters. It wouldn't be international waters. So that's a big problem. So that's one of the root causes of the problem between Greece and Turkey. Now, if you go down, you see that Zionist entity, which shares some of that exclusive economic zone diagonal with both Egypt and Lebanon. Now, in that general vicinity, there is a lot of oil underground. Why do they want Gaza? Not only for the land, not only to displace, ethnically cleanse, and commit genocide against the Palestinian people, not only to promote Greater Israel, but also to have Gaza's 12 nautical miles and Gaza's 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, which contains a tremendous amount of wealth potential under the sea. By the way, President Trump and Kushner and Witkoff and others have talked about this openly and publicly. It's not a secret. This has been part of the agenda, and they've used it as both a carrot and a stick. And also, when you look at Lebanon, look at that diagonal. If Israel just takes a little bit more, it basically takes a triangle chunk out of southern Lebanon, south of Litani. It's able to take a much bigger chunk of Lebanon's zone. And that is a very oil-rich area. So look up a little bit further up. You have Syria, which has a bit smaller zone there. And then you have Cyprus. Now, the problem with Cyprus is that Cyprus is divided. It's the only divided capital still in Europe. But you have Cyprus, which the southern part, which is the Greek part, which is a member of the European Union. And you have the northern part, which is the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, or considered by the Greek South as occupied part of Cyprus. Now, they want, so my personal feelings is the Cypriots need to unite and need to have a united country, and it needs to be a binational country. Greeks and Turks, they need to live together. They did live together, and that's fine. But Israel now is stoking nationalist sentiment in Greece and Cyprus to try to provoke a conflict so it can get involved itself. Why? Because Israel also wants rights to Cypriot, not only to Cypriot territory, of which thousands have moved to Cyprus and bought land, even more, tens of thousands, but also to have the oil exploration rights as well in that area bordering their EEZ. So why not further the conflict with Turkey to, number one, promote, and you can see there, just connected, Greece, Cyprus, Israel. That's the new axis in the Eastern Mediterranean that's been formed. By the way, the Greek people and the Cypriot people are very pro-Palestine. Historically, it's a majority of the population that supports Palestine. So this is not about the Greek people. And you've seen even Israelis commented when they go to Greece, they find Palestinian flags everywhere, graffiti about Palestine, fuck Israel, fuck IDF, blah, blah, blah. So they get angry and some of them leave. Those who stay know that it's a long-term project, right? So when you look at that, it literally creates a line that can go against Turkey in the Eastern Mediterranean. The problem, of course, is Egypt, number one. Number two, Libya. Libya and Greece, because the Libya is on the side of, on the eastern part is Benghazi. That's Haftar territory. That's that kind of orange color, right? That's not the Tripoli government. That's Haftar territory. Now, Khalifa Haftar is very, very close to Turkey, UAE, and Russia, as well as the Americans. So it's a little bit confusing as to what's happening, but Greece and Libya are also in a conflict because of the exclusive economic zone and also numerous factors related to that maritime border and who has the rights, because does Tripoli have the right for Libya or Benghazi? What's going on? So in any case, when you look at this map, you understand the geopolitics, the economics, or especially the natural resources that are being explored, and the overall control of the seas, right? The invocation of the laws of the seas and who controls these seas, that's at the root of a lot of the problems here. So Turkey now finds itself being surrounded in a way on this side by a growing hostile force, and ultimately it's going to have to respond at this point. They are provoking Turkey. They are provoking Turkey. That's not to say that Turkey has not provoked Greece and Cyprus. Of course not. But, they have in the past. But this provocation is done solely by Israel to benefit Israel, not to benefit Greece and Cyprus ultimately. Because Greece and Cyprus would do much better having good relations with Turkey for economy, for trade, for a lot of mutual beneficial exchange. But Israel wants to use Greece and Cyprus in the same way the United States and NATO use Ukraine. They want to create a Ukraine situation 2.0 with Greece and Cyprus. Like Ukraine, Greece has very bad demographics, a population that is rapidly aging, population that isn't being replaced properly by Greeks having big families anymore. So what better than to provoke a conflict where you can reap some of the rewards at the end? So I hope that this has been understandable for people, but I thought that this is very important for people to understand that this is not only about Syria, which you see there, of course, but Greece and Cyprus is much more about the sea, the resources, and a lot of this territorial dispute that they try to wrap up in cultural, ethnic, religious, and nationalist disputes, but is actually much more about the base economic disputes here.
We're really watching Israeli, and I think when you put it into context for people, this is Israeli empire building. They're just grabbing new proxies, creating proxy wars, creating their own little miniature NATOs or small little ententes or alliances. So it's very, very interesting to watch this sort of getting America's bases out of the Middle East was a big one. They're kind of growing up.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
The sun set on the United States empire.
Absolutely. It's, one of the things that we have to be very concerned about as well is, for example, we have to be concerned that there's going to be some black flags and provocations coming up. Okay, we can take our opinions now. Do you think after Tuesday, we're back in war?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're back in war. How long do you think?
I'm of the mind that it's going to be very long, years.
Really?
Mhm.
Years.
Mhm. Years of negotiations, years of back and forth. This could be like Vietnam.
Wow. That's intense. If they go down that route, Israel would need another front to take pressure off of it. That's what I think.
That's why they're pushing up north.
Yeah. So they're doing the north and then the northwest, right? Into the Aegean, into the Eastern Mediterranean. I think that we're gonna see black flag sort of,
Something happened in Turkey. I have one Turkish dude. I think he's in the chat right now. There were 2 school shootings, weren't there?
Yes.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that there was an incident in Spain. Spain speaks out, trains start crashing. Turkey says something, there's 2 school shootings. Are school shootings commonplace in Turkey? I wouldn't think so.
They have happened before. I know that they've happened before, but not so common. No.
Just like Serbia's school shooting. And then it got everybody its guns taken away. Just weird things. Weird things. Okay, we have another clip we'll play before our guest gets here. Let's see what this one is. Chris Wright. Who is Chris Wright?
Trump in the Truth Social post this morning said if the Iranians don't take the deal being offered, quote, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy. They'll come down fast. They'll come down easy. Are you not concerned that those proposed strikes on civilian infrastructure, including power plants, would hurt the innocent people of Iran and would constitute a war crime?
Yeah, look, the president's looking for maximum leverage, maximum leverage in these negotiations. A lot of their infrastructure supports only their war machine. Of course, a lot of it supports civilians as well. But no, I'm not worried about that. Negotiations are going very well. A lot of the chatter and noise you hear in public is really the signs of a regime that's falling apart. Different factions go in different directions. They're worried about trying to get some leverage at the end of these negotiations. I think President Trump and Vice President Vance have us on a pathway to a good ending of this conflict before long.
Well,
The Energy Secretary. He has sent something asinine. Oh, yeah, he was the one who did the tweet.
Yes.
The tweet. Okay. Yeah. That's that guy. Oh, okay. So the Energy Secretary defending war crimes.
Some of their energy powers their military. I mean, I'm sure that the military facilities have their own power generation.
It doesn't even matter. Even if they do, it doesn't mean you can hit them.
No, of course not. But I don't know. It's just it's mind-boggling how they are trying to justify this. I wonder if you would agree that they're trying to prepare people. They're trying to shape the narrative to prepare people for what's to come, what's already been agreed to come.
What do we have talks planned for this week, or were they?
No,
okay.
No talks. What talks?
Because the Americans kept saying like, "Oh, we're going to send." I'm sending like, well, it's Trump. Forgive me. We're going to send JD Vance, and now I have some, responses from the Iranians, such as, so this first one is, Iran has no plans to send a negotiating delegation, no talks while the naval blockade stands. According to Tasnim news agency, message exchanges between Iran and the U.S. via Pakistani intermediary have continued in recent days, following the conclusion of the first round of negotiations. These exchanges are a continuation of the same process that played out during the first round, a process that ultimately failed due to American overreach and excessive demands. The Iranian team has made clear, as long as Trump's naval blockade declaration remains in place, there will be no negotiations. And I'll wait for Stan to get here, but I do want to ask him about the firing upon ships and the new threat that they'll be boarding ships. And then one of our super chats from Chili Peppa, she is asking, were 4 Chinese ships really blockaded by the United States? I didn't hear that.
I'm not sure. I've heard mixed reporting on that. I'm not sure. We don't really, this is the fog of war kind of situation. We don't really have a total clear picture of what's going on in the Gulf of Oman right now, in the Strait of Hormuz.
Tasnim News is reporting Iran prepared for possible resumption of war. Monitoring of U.S. movements in recent days point to several notable shifts: the repositioning of certain U.S. warships, an unprecedented airlift for equipment transfers, multiple heavy C-5 and C-15 aircraft involved in weapons transport, amphibious island seizure drills in Bahrain, and rapid coastal assault exercises, extensive U.S. reconnaissance drone flights over Iranian islands, repositioning of certain U.S. air defense systems. That is true. They moved the THAAD. I saw that. It was on satellite. Iran is simultaneously considering two scenarios and has prepared for both. Scenario one, the U.S. buildup of psychological pressure aimed at extracting concessions at the negotiating table. Scenario two, the talk of negotiations is cover for a surprise military strike targeting Iranian islands. Iran is fully prepared at this time and considers the war scenario more likely than continued negotiations.
Mm-hmm. I think the worst scenario is very likely. I think the Trump administration has already made up its mind to go back into war.
How does it start?
How does it start? That's an interesting question. Number one, the question is if it's already started again with this firing on the ship. But I really think that it's going to start possibly the same way the other two started, which is the ceasefire ends, and then shortly thereafter, we have another massive air campaign.
Israel's hitting Lebanon again today.
Oh yeah, what kind of ceasefire is it? I thought this was a ceasefire.
But I don't think that they basically like bifurcated Lebanon. Like the north, the ceasefire applies to the north. It just doesn't apply to the Christian Shia south. That's the vibe I'm getting.
I really think that if this second round happens, it's going to be a lot more civilian infrastructure targeted.
If they attack from Azerbaijan, that's already been addressed by the Iranian government. They said they'll bomb the hell out of Azerbaijan if they even think about using their airspace to attack Iran.
Everyone wants me a tinfoil hat. My tinfoil hat is the Trump administration. My tinfoil hat, if I'm going to throw that on my new haircut, by the way, I hope it's okay. I think the Trump administration has already spoken to its Israeli counterparts, and I think that they want to strike Iranian infrastructure because for the Israelis, the narrative is we need to finish the regime. Even now, they keep saying we need to keep going in Lebanon and in Iran. So this reprieve, I think is temporary. I think this will continue. And let's not forget that the United States is still moving assets into the region. It hasn't stopped moving assets into the region. It hasn't withdrawn assets in the region, except for, when there was a laundry room fire and, other mishaps on some ships that, remain known. But they're bringing everybody there. They actually have more troop buildup now than they did 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. And they moved more troops into Jordan. They were like, oh, we're going to leave Syria, but they just went to Jordan. So it's not like.
So for what? You got to ask for what? Why? As a pressure? As, sort of saber rattling? I don't think so. I think the Trump administration is gunning to use this and is waiting for the right time to strike again.
Thank you, Roman. And so I also wanted to ask you this other question. One of our contributors, he's an Iranian currently in Afghanistan. And he said, keep an eye on Afghanistan. Don't forget about Afghanistan. He's under the impression that something huge will happen in Afghanistan in relation to this war.
I mean, first and foremost, Afghanistan and Pakistan were actively fighting before this war kicked off. We know that. We were monitoring that. Afghanistan supported Iran last year. At least that was some what we report. This year, some groups came out against Iran in favor of the U.S. and Israeli strikes. So I don't know. We could see Afghanistan also dragged into it. Of course, Iran is home to one of the largest Afghan populations outside of Afghanistan. I think it is, besides Pakistan, the second largest. I'm pretty sure. millions of Afghans, especially Shia Afghans. So we could see some big developments there. We could see some active fighting. We could see promotion of sectarianism. And also, it's good for the Americans if Afghanistan is brought into it, because Afghanistan borders China. Great.
That's why
great to cause some trouble also with China as well. Let's see. Stanislav just messaged. Okay, so he's finishing up with Nima, and he'll be on.
Perfect. Pick another topic, any topic. Oh, the fort is now in the Red Sea. I saw all that. So the fort is in the Red Sea, which is interesting to me. And what I'm guessing is that the Bush is coming around the Cape of Good Hope to go over to maybe along that southern edge of the peninsula, Yemen, Oman area. And then the Lincoln will go up on the east side of the peninsula, or the Lincoln and the Bush reversed. And you'll sort of have this triangular. What?
Oh my God. Okay. We have to address this. We have to address this. We had a comment that came through. So let me throw this up here.
I knew it.
All escalates. Greece may move to retake Constantinople. There is Orthodox prophecy about that. Jesus Christos Nika. Okay. Listen, my brother. I grew up in a very patriotic Greek family on my mom's side. Very religious, also very communist, but that's a big story for another day. And my grandmother was convinced that Greece would retake Constantinople. Of course, when I went to visit Istanbul, Constantinople, I was, first of all, surprised at, number one, the size and breadth of the city. Number two, the fact that the city alone, that Constantinople, the city, Ipoli, that the city itself is 16 million people alone. And Greece's entire population is 11 million or less. So, okay, hypothetically, okay, why not? We'll entertain this. How do we plan on retaking, with a population of 11 million, a city that has 16 million and a country that has 90 million? For me, personally, I had a wonderful time in Turkey. I went many times. I studied at Boğaziçi University. I did my field research in Cappadocia. I traveled all throughout the country. I lived in Galata, in Istanbul, and I really enjoyed spending time in the Fanar. I spent time in 2009 with Patriarch Bartholomew, and later on went to the seminary. And I just don't understand why we need to fight for Constantinople. Okay, say we fight for it. First and foremost, as somebody who went to seminary, I would always raise my hand and say, if we ask the Virgin Mary for her intercession, you know, when we sing Ti Permacho, this very famous chant, right? And we look to her as sort of a military leader, right? And well, 1453 happened. So either she's wrong, which I don't believe, heaven forbid, the Virgin Mary is pure, but we were wrong. So maybe it was a result of our own foolishness and sin that Constantinople fell. Just a thought. Just a thought that from 1453 to 2026, we are not in a position to retake it because maybe we're not in the favor anymore. Clearly, something happened there, right? Was it punishment? Was it divine punishment? Or, as my grandmother liked to say, no, Rome moved from Constantinople to Moscow. I said, yeah, I love it. From second Rome to third Rome. Mm-hmm. But as we heard in Ivan Grozny, in the famous Ivan the Terrible movie by Eisenstein, there is a third Rome, but there will never be a fourth Rome. So there you have it. But in essence, I don't believe it's not logistically possible. It's not militarily possible. Yeah, and a war like that now, how could it? So I just want people to just take it with grace that we can visit, We can have good relations. We can criticize things that are maybe we don't like. And maybe the school of Halki should open up again, which I believe it should. And maybe Hagia Sophia should be a museum still, so both Muslims and Christians can enjoy it without it kind of, so it can be for both peoples. But in any case, it's not Greek, and maybe we'll retake it one day. I don't know. That's in the divine hands. But at this point, I think we have bigger fish to fry. Russia is currently fighting against the entire combined West in Ukraine, and the Ukrainian church is literally, tearing itself apart. So let's focus on other things for now before we talk about retaking Constantinople and flying the double-headed eagle again in there.
Well, the double-headed eagle.
Double-headed eagle is flying, but it's flying atop the Kremlin. There he is! Oh! Kremlin and the double-headed eagle.
The double-headed eagle. You look unamused today.
There it is. There it is. We gotta go a little bit up. We can't see it. We can't see it. Move a little bit up. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
We are the third Rome,
That's
which
right.
and most Greeks, for whatever friggin' reason, they get so offended. You're the third Rome. Well, gentlemen, you misunderstood the mission of the third Rome. There, two Romes have fallen. One fell to heresy, another fell to the infidel, and the third Rome there's the third Rome, and there will not be a fourth Rome. So the mission of the third Rome is to restore the second Rome and the first Rome.
Nice.
So yes.
There we go. There's the historic mission. So
and we will have the honor of taking Constantinople because the Greeks are too weak in spiritually and morally. That's, by the way, Greek prophecy. That's not Russian prophecy. That's Greek prophecy.
Oh,
yes.
So yeah.
For those who don't know, I gotta introduce you because everyone is excited. We got 6,300 people here.
Seriously? Wow.
For everyone who does not know,
wow,
this is the one, the only Stanislav Krapivnik, who is Lugansk-born, U.S. raised, and also was a U.S. Army officer. Ended at the rank of captain promotable to major.
Yep.
And now back in Russia, doing big things. We were just together for Pascha. Thank you so much for your hospitality. And
anytime.
It was fantastic.
You should have stayed longer. You should have just done a show out of my office here.
I should have, but I ended up coming
back. You got a blank
to
wall behind you. You could have had a flag behind you and these grapes and painting over there,
It was a low-key show. Yeah.
Or just turned it even further and just had the rest of the bookshelf and that nice control hanging there,
Yes.
I told you, go do it out of my office and keep drinking.
Next time, we're gonna do it. Next time.
I know that's why he gave up. We were in the middle of drinking. I was like, "Come on, man!"
I know it was true.
So much more to go. Why are you leaving early?
And he's like, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I gotta work." He's like, "Work? It's Pascha. What's wrong with you?"
I said we could have taken the day off.
That's what I told him. It's like, for God's sakes, it's the resurrection of the Lord.
It's only
the only holiest day in the absolute holiest day in the calendar.
I said to the producer, I said, "It is Easter. Why don't we just forego?"
Yeah.
It's that American work ethic. I don't know. It's that Protestant spirit and that, ethic of capitalism.
Protestant spirit.
And see where it's gotten the U.S. these days. I mean,
I know. I agree.
The average person can't afford a house, can't afford a car, listen. You've been out of the U.S. for a while. Do you realize that a lot of these grocery stores now offer credit? Their own lines of credit for people to buy groceries. We're not talking steak dinners here, just to buy groceries.
People are buying Wheaties with credit.
Yeah, they're using
not credit cards, but like credit from the grocery stores.
You can DoorDash in payments now.
You can DoorDash in payments.
You can Klarna. Klarna is like a private sort of creditor. When I'm talking about, like, look, you have no credit, you can get a Klarna loan. Yeah, you can do Klarna, DoorDash.
At what percentage? And what double percent?
I have no idea. I've never ventured that far.
I remember there was the People's Bank or a People's Credit Card, something like that, for people who couldn't get a credit card. And the news broke that they had like 74% interest rate. Right? This was a few years back. And after the story broke and it was on U.S. media, and the leadership said, we feel ashamed. Yes, we're taking too much of advantage of people. So we're like dropping it down like 36% interest rate. Oh, frick, man. 36. Let's divide it by 12. That's 3% a month on your sum that you're paying. It's 36%. Yearly. That's insane. I mean, and what are people buying with this stuff? Food, vacations, or something like that. That's the worst thing. Vacation is just the worst thing you could ever pay for on a credit.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, outside of memories, you get nothing else. You just get a bill. You get some good memories for a couple of weeks, and then you get to pull your hair out for the rest of the next year trying to pay that off. But yeah, that's what I mean. That's where the U.S. is at right now.
Well, unlike Chris, I haven't talked to you since this. Could we call it a war? Are we calling it a war? What are we calling it?
It's back on. U.S. just struck a Iranian cargo ship and grabbed it. And the only reason the U.S. ships were that close were in Iranian territorial waters and not becoming reefs is because there was a ceasefire. So right. Iran's going to be opening fire on whatever American ship gets close, and 1,000 kilometers close. So,
do you think that this was the opening move, sort of the opening salvo of the end of the ceasefire?
Oh yeah, I think so. Look, the two main points that nobody could come to an agreement on. It's just like the Ukrainian, by the way, talks. Yeah, we're 90% there. Yeah, well, if 90% of your trip is across a flat valley and the last 10% is Mount Everest, you're fucked. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
It's the same thing here. The 2 points that you can't get up on is one was the uranium, because uranium in this case, Trump's telling everybody, oh, they're going to give us the uranium. The Iranians are like, yeah, uranium is our national, it's our national treasure basically at this point. It's their insurance policy. Russia has offered 3 times, and it offered before all this too. We can store the uranium for Iran on our territory, and if they need some of it, we'll give it back to them whenever they need it. Well, this was as a neutral party, but the U.S. needs that uranium, and I'll tell you why the U.S. needs this uranium. It needs it for those AI centers, because the U.S. is planning on building a hell of a lot more nuclear power plants to feed those giant data centers. And all uranium, 70% of capability to process uranium is in the hands of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And France has a good chunk of it, and obviously Iran has a chunk of it. But U.S. has basically no capability of. First, U.S. has no uranium in the United States territories. Period. Canada has, but U.S. has none. In fact, the 2 American nuclear bombs or atom bombs that were dropped on Japan was all Canadian uranium. U.S. has 0 uranium. Russia has 70% of the world's enrichment capability for uranium, both for civilian and for military use. U.S. needs that uranium. And by the way, just on a side note, there was news that came out that the Chinese have demonstrated a quantum computer that uses very little power compared to these data centers, at least on a limited scope, outworked any of these massive AI computer systems. So it could possibly be that these giant data centers that are now building, the big data center bubble in the U.S., the bubble of burst all bubbles, and they may already be outdated.
Wow.
Yeah. They could possibly already be outdated. So talk about screwed. But the U.S. needs that uranium. So they absolutely need that uranium for themselves, for Trump's AI economy. That's one. And the other thing is, the other point, which was never going to get settled, is the U.S. is demanding control of the Straits of Hormuz. So basically, first of all, Straits of Hormuz is not neutral waters. It is the territorial waters of Oman and Iran, majority Iran.
Yeah.
Oman is just at the entrance. So it's absolutely their territorial waters. End of story. Their territory, their property. It's the same thing as somebody saying, hey, we need the Mississippi Delta. You're going to have to give that up, because we feel like, and the Mississippi, by the way, is going to be neutral waters now. We're just going to flow the way we want up to Great Lakes, all the way up the Ohio River and all that. So, hey, go screw yourself. That's what you have to do. The U.S. will never do that, of course.
Of course not.
But that's what you're asking Iran to do, equivalent of. Or at least give up, the South Florida islands down there for navigation. U.S. isn't going to do that, but you're asking Iran to do. So Iran said no. And by the way, Trump's going to be charging. If Trump was ever to get a hold of that, he's going to be charging whatever's passing through there for ship. Same thing as the Iranians are doing. Yeah, there's no way in hell he isn't going to do that. So yeah, so you got it's loggerheads. There's no room to move on that. And the Iranians said flat out, well, there's no way in hell we're giving up our uranium. Go screw yourself, you lying bastard. By the way, I got this. You're gonna love this. The North Koreans could be hilarious. If you give me a chance, I will play this. I can't show you really the video on it, but it's not much of a video. It's a video. Where the hell was this? It's a video of that really poor excuse for a parade that was done by the U.S. Army for Trump.
Yes.
And it's the description, the North Korean description of that parade. Where the hell is it? 1 second. Here it is. Listen. I mean, this is Tokyo. What was it? Tokyo Betty or whatever they called it. Well, this is a North Korean woman. I'll show you the video. Crap, you can't see it. It's not.
Oh, it's the woman who always announces.
Yeah, it's her. But listen to what she says about this. This is hilarious.
The inferior leader, pictured here looking old, confused, and tired, sat next to an expensive prostitute and a drunk television host for the duration of the parade. In total, $40 million was spent on the parade by the debt-ridden failed state, shamefully done so at a time of increasing poverty in the country. Many have noted how pudgy and overweight the Trump looks at a time when Americans struggle for food. Unable to tolerate political dissent, the inferior leader's supporters shot dead an opposition politician in one city, while in other locations, a protester was shot and a follower of the cult leader attempted to drive his car into the crowd. The propaganda exercise was swallowed whole by the dull of mind and incurious of spirit. The helpless sheep believe themselves to be the envy of the world, but the world laughs in their faces.
Isn't that
real?
That's real. That's real. It's North Korea propaganda there, but it's hilarious.
The news out of Japan that was like it was talking about the peace talks, and they were like, okay, JD Vance is there, and then they started like they're talking about like Jared Kushner and Steve Wickoff, and they go, why is Jared Kushner there? Isn't he a Jew?
Well, I don't care if somebody's a Jew or not. I mean, it's their deal with their nationality. But when you're the absolute tool of Netanyahu, I mean, and you're there, and look, here's a moment that every American should be outraged. But I guess most Americans are outraged about Epstein elites eating children. So, I mean, why would this bother them any? And I'm saying that with all sincerity because, 70 years ago, there would have been a revolution in the U.S. If that kind of information came out. 100 years ago, they'd be lynched. All of them would be lynched. The Congress would probably be burned to the ground with all of them in there. I mean, realistically speaking, if you look at what America used to be, compared to what it has become, when that kind of news gets out, most people go, "Oh, that's horrible." How much does bread cost these days?
Mm-hmm.
And off they go, and they forget about it's not my child being murdered and raped, murdered, and eaten. Hopefully, it won't be, and maybe it'll be somebody else, but not mine. That seems to be the attitude of most of America, if we look realistically at it, pathetically saying that. But what else can you say? It's just that it's a stage. It's late empire, jaded, collapsing civilization stage.
It's horrible.
But the two people that's sitting there. So what Morandi was telling me, Saeed Morandi, a friend of mine, and you know who I'm talking about.
Of course, we know
Professor Morandi. The day when he got back, he got back that Sunday. That Monday, I was talking with him and interviewed him on there. They're saying, not only, when they went, Khamenei told them, I've got full confidence in you, negotiate as you need to. Okay, so Vance called Trump 12 times. Typically, Trump is his boss. Okay, fine with that. But he called something like 4 times. He called Netanyahu, gave him full reports, and got marching orders from Netanyahu. Never mind, he's got 2 Netanyahu agents standing behind his back. You know, I mean, this Netanyahu's basically running the show. I mean, any way you look at it. And what Joe Kent said when they had the operations room, Netanyahu walks in and he sits in Trump's place at the head of the table, and Trump's sitting off to the side of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, subservience. And Netanyahu, by the way, was bragging about how Vance was calling him and getting orders from him. I mean, this is like a shaming operation.
Yes, exactly.
If you're not angry yet, you'll never be angry. That's.
And I also wanted to ask you, so today I just read it off on the show, but the Iranians are saying that the United States is doing island exercises in Bahrain. What have you heard about this? And do you see an island landing coming soon?
Yeah, more than likely. Unfortunate for those guys that are getting sent, because they're getting sent to their own deaths by a guy that got 5 deferments because of bone spurs not to go to Vietnam. The guy never, outside of a military academy, never wore a uniform, never wore the real uniform, and never will. None of his family ever has, and never will. But they're the ones that are always more than happy to send everybody else's kids off to get killed. They've got no skin in the game.
Do you buy the story about? I haven't talked to you since. Do you buy the story about the pilots, the downing of the pilots? Do those pilots exist
the more
at
I
all?
thought about it, no, I think the pilots, even the plane was set up to be downed as an excuse. Look, first of all, most planes fly in pairs. Let's begin with that.
That's true.
There's usually a squad mate there. There's 2 planes. This plane was all by itself. Back was sitting a lieutenant colonel. That's not normal to have your XO flying on a solo mission. They're just 2 guys. But it made a good excuse. They got shot down. I'm sure the Iranians probably did shoot them down. They're just probably out there as bait. So put 2 volunteers in there. Look, when you do rescue missions, the whole point is in and out. You don't draw attention. Somebody may be doing something to the side, but you're flying in over there. Okay, so if this guy, maybe he was injured, maybe he wasn't injured, I don't know. But if he's up on a mountainside with a beacon, you bring in one of those Blackbirds or Blackhawks. They're actually called a Pave Hawk. They're specialized for rescue. They can be refueled in the air, so they got longer ranges. You bring it in there. And this guy's on a mountainside, so that has no trees. By the way, that's even easier. You put down a ladder, you put down a sling. It's the same thing as water rescue. It's the same equipment. He clips in and they're off. They'd probably be off before he even got up there inside the cabin, just to get out of there as fast as possible. You're in and you're out before anybody realizes you're there. That's how you do a rescue. Minimum equipment, minimum men. What do we see? We see an airstrip that's taken. We see an airstrip that where 2 C-130s are destroyed. A bunch of what were the ones? Blackbirds? No, not blackbirds. Well, I can't remember the name. I think I got enough sleep.
Little ones, the little planes.
Little birds. That's it.
Yeah.
So a bunch of little birds that were destroyed, up to 4 of them. What do we see? And the U.S. is saying, "Oh, we blew up our own planes." Well, first of all, what you see on the chassis of what's left of those planes is shrapnel marks, and up and down that airstrip, there are craters. So let me translate this another way. Plus 100+ guys were involved. So you brought in an infantry company
for what?
And they just happen to be not that far away from the nuclear facilities. Let me translate another way. We got a cover story. We're rescuing this guy. We're bringing in Rangers, maybe some spec ops, and this is black op operations. And we're trying to grab, I don't know, equipment or maybe grab people. Equipment would be even hard to believe out of there. So since there are not 120 or 120 corpses or prisoners of war, obviously there were a hell of a lot more than 2 C-130s on location to get everybody out. So it had to be at least 4 C-130s, because you cannot fit 100+ people on a C-130. You're not going to fit. It's not going to even take off. It'll be too heavy. Right. So it had to be at least 2 more C-130s that took off. So let's just say 2, not even 3. So there are at least 4 C-130s that landed on this. This is not a rescue mission.
No way.
The cover was a rescue mission, but this is not. This is Trump's attempt to grab an airfield and grab the uranium. That obviously went really, really bad. I don't know how many people got killed and wounded off of that. They obviously took the wounded and the dead out. But this is a mission fuck up. This is failed mission, and it's a pretty ballsy mission if you think about it. And pretty much, they make a great Hollywood movie. That's not based in reality. But yeah, that was, and after that they were like, oh, let's have a negotiated ceasefire. Because I think that was their. If they had pulled that off, they would have been bragging and jumping up and down. And we won. See, we got the uranium. Obviously, they didn't. And amazingly, the Iranians just couldn't figure out where they might strike like that, wherever they have the uranium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and amazingly, I'm sure the Iranians also did not, for some reason, run out in a nice little row and wait to get mowed down by Rambo. That's how it's supposed to work, right?
Well, we do have a clip from today's interaction between the USS Screw-Ons and the Tuska merchant ship. Let's take a look.
Let's look at it.
Motor Vessel Toska, vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Wow. There you have it.
There you have it.
This is an act of war, yes?
Of course it's an act of war. We're already at war. I mean, this is the end of, I'm pretty sure the end of the ceasefire. The only reason those ships got that close, they're in territorial waters, Iran's territorial waters. Because those tankers, they hug the coast, and then they get over to Pakistani. And they get into Pakistani territorial waters. I would imagine the only reason those ships got that close is because there is a, ceasefire, and I'm pretty sure it's over. So, where to now? Well, I mean, U.S. can't resume. I mean, it could to a degree, but it's got limited capability of resuming a war in Iran. What in a week and a half, they sure as hell didn't rebuild their arsenals, the quote arsenal of democracy. Of course, see where the democracy is in this, but yeah, at the rate they're building, maybe they got another 10 Tomahawk missiles in within that week and a half, maybe another 20 Patriots. So what do you do now? I mean, they pulled in equipment. There's satellite videos, satellite imaging of the THAAD and Patriots in Jordan. That just brought in that came in from South Korea, but there's only like 7 THAAD. There were only 7 THAAD batteries to begin with.
Yeah,
I think 3 or 4 of them already been destroyed. So, I mean, U.S. is running out of equipment, quite literally. U.S. can't defend itself right now.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
The Ford has transited into this Red Sea today, and we have the Bush coming around the Cape of Good Hope. What do you see happening with these 3 carrier strike groups? What sort of formation do you see? Do you think that Ansarallah will close Bab el-Mandeb and sort of create a vice that the Ford can't get out of? Or how do you see the naval side going?
Well, the Ford can get out by going back through Suez Canal, obviously. That it can do. By the way, not a single U.S. modern aircraft carrier can pass through the Panama Canal.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's big, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're too big.
Yeah.
Even the smallest one is about 6 meters too wide. So, yeah, wow. The Panama Canal is closed, to the main U.S. military asset, which is the aircraft carrier. They just got too big, got too bloated.
Like the military budget.
Like the military budget, absolutely. They got too bloated. There's a lot that could be written into that. but yeah, so that's where we're at. They bring these ships in, and then what happens? We start back up. Iran still has its missiles. It still has hypersonics. It still has anti-ship missiles. They're not going to go to the Straits of Hormuz. Obviously, they'll die. There's a reason the Lincoln was so far away, because it had been attacked. Whether or not it was damaged was questionable. You had the Ford more likely was hit. I did an interview with Cameron McGregor, and he's former U.S. Navy officer. He's just telling me, the carriers have several thousand air sealable compartments in it. That's why sinking a carrier is extremely difficult. Not just because it's huge, because it's got so many airtight compartments that it'll still stay buoyant. Well, if you got one compartment that's on fire, you can seal it off and just evacuate the oxygen out. It'll do it itself anyways by burning. It'll just smother itself. And yet they were fighting a fire for 30 hours. I flat out asked them, have you ever heard of anything like that on a ship? It's like, no, not from some electric fire or blend fire or whatever they had. So more likely this was a hit. They took a hit. And they were putting out the fires from that hit. So what are they going to do? I don't know. I mean, you can bring in a hell of a lot more ships in there, but again, there's an old British saying: a naval ship should never fight a fort. Forts don't sink.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and the whole Strait of Hormuz. Oh hell, all of Iran is one big fort.
It's one big fort.
So and this is a fort that can reach out and touch you a hell of a lot further than you can reach out and touch it.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what do you expect this upcoming week? What's next?
Well, if Trump goes after the electric power networks in Iran will go after electric power networks in Israel, in U.S. allies. I think the only country that really wants this war out of the outside of Israel is the United Arab Emirates, which is the one that can least afford this, because the entire country lives off of 100% lives off of desalination plants. You don't have to blow them up. You just take out the electric power network. And now what do you do? I mean, I guess you could run them for a little while on diesel generators, but you're not getting any diesel in, and then that runs out. They already have to ship in food across the mountains from Amman. I mean, you try feeding 10 million plus people by truck. That's a hell of a tough order when it used to be just container ships. I mean, this is an artificial country, or it's not even a country, it's an artificial confederacy of 7 statelets that, until modern technology and modern economics, was nothing but 7 villages with 7 small forts for local 7 small warlords, and the rest of the population was mostly Bedouins, Bedouin nomads. And now you've got what? You've got a giant infrastructural project you cannot support, you cannot feed, you cannot get water to it. I mean, if Iran goes after the electric net power grids in the Persian Gulf, you're probably looking at 20, 30 million dead civilians in 2 days, 3 days. No water and 45-degree heat. How long is a human going to survive that? A day, maybe? If you stay in the shade, no air conditioning to cool it down, so the shade's not going to be that much cooler. I mean, how long can you live without water? I'm sure, some people have water. Obviously, they'll have bottles of water. They'll have some reserves, so maybe for a couple days worth. The poor people that are the vast majority of the slave labor, basically, I mean, they do consider them slaves. Interesting enough, if you ever talk to these people, they look at them as slaves, hired slaves, but they're still slaves. The Bangladeshis and whoever, they'll be dying off left and right. Also don't have water. I mean, even if you last 2-3 days, then what? You can't evacuate that. You can't bring that much water for that many people in. I mean,
would you also agree that Dubai is dead? It'll never be the same again?
No, never. Look, Dubai was built on trade. But in this case, trade was mostly trade of banking sector, that kind of trade, which can be relocated anywhere. I mean, realistically speaking, I'm being chic because it's chic to be in Dubai. Now, property prices have fallen about a third, if not more. So much for chic. People buy apartments for $2 million an hour. Those apartments are now about $1,200,000. Yeah, okay. And on having safety, because they were the island of stability and their safety was guaranteed by the U.S. military. Whoops, that didn't work out too well. So what have they got? They don't manufacture anything. They don't have any goods that are needed by anybody. Being chic, that's like being, the top nightclub. Oh yeah, it's great while it lasts, until somebody else opens a better nightclub and everybody goes to that nightclub. And then you're sitting there and you've got two people dancing on a dance floor and one person drinking at your bar. You're screwed. It's time to close the doors. I mean, chic comes and goes, right? As any restaurateur knows, and anything like that. It's the whim of the crowd. And when your safety is no longer guaranteed, you're no longer an island of stability. Banking can go anywhere. With the internet, they don't have to sit there. They can relocate anywhere. Look, Kuwait never fully recovered. It was the gem of the Persian Gulf. After the 90s, after the Desert Storm and all that, they never recovered. Not to the same level. It's been 30 years and they still can't get that. So yeah, I think Dubai is screwed. The whole Emirates is screwed. Qatar is screwed for a different reason. Qatar has a lot of production products everybody needs, but the infrastructure has been so destroyed, it's going to take years to put back up. And whether or not the present management of that corporation known as Qatar, that private corporation, are going to spend all that money to reinstall all that equipment while not making any money, I don't know if they will or not. It's several $100 billion they'll need to implement for 3-4 years. They're not going to make any money. So the ammonia's not coming back for the fertilizer. The helium's not coming back until you get the gas going again. So that's, and for the gas, we probably need to get the electric system back up and everything else. That's step by step. That's a lot of money invested. Somebody will probably take it because there's too much wealth. At the end, somebody with deep enough pockets, but that'll still exist because again, they actually have a set of products that everybody needs. Dubai has nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
It's got real estate that's dropped in price severely. What does Dubai got? I'm sure they'll be in 10 years when the sand takes over half these cities or good chunks of these cities. They'll be getting. You'll go, oh, what great CGI. Oh, wait a minute, that's a real city. In this post-apocalyptic movie,
I think we can all agree that the Gulf is the big loser in all of this. The Gulf is the big loser in this Ramadan war now going into 2.0. And I think that we're gonna be watching it unfold in the coming days. We're gonna see where this is headed. But I think all of us agree here that Iran is more than capable to continue this asymmetrically, as long as it needs to, as long as it needs to.
I'll tell you who else is a big loser: the United States people.
Yeah.
Oh, because, for sure.
By the way,
about it.
The American people that can't afford education because in 1990, in-state tuition at NC State when I went 1990 was like $400 a semester. You go work a summer job for a month and be able to pay off your, $400 a semester in 1990 in-state tuition.
Now how much?
Like $400 a credit.
About $9,500.
Yeah, it's $400 like a credit, roughly.
Yeah,
$400 or $500 a credit.
I mean, I spent all your textbooks were used for 4 years, so you could almost any subject you could buy a used textbook. I was buying literally used textbooks in good condition for like $15, $20. I think I spent like another $200 on textbooks. My most expensive textbook was my engineering calculus textbook, and that covered it was like $65, and that covered 3 semesters or 4 semesters of engineering calc. And now those textbooks, I mean, the minimal textbooks are like $400 or $500.
Yeah. Publishing
and the reason I'm saying that is, guess who has a free education system?
Iran.
Israel does. Guess who has free medicine? Israel does. Guess who gets to pay for that? The Americans do. And guess who doesn't have any of that? The Americans don't. And guess who's going to be rebuilding Israel? Every last single building. The Americans will. Or at least the American pocket will. The Israelis will fire somebody to do it, or do it themselves. But Israel would be a major loser considering how much damage they've taken, except that they have a backstop called the American tax slave.
Yeah.
By the way, it's tax season, baby. Better get your money. Uncle Sam needs your money.
That's right.
He's got to rebuild Israel.
Pay for your alliances.
The United States has become a resource extraction colony.
Oh, it is.
Israelis.
And there was it in Jerusalem Post, one of those Israeli newspapers a couple of years ago. There was not even a couple of years ago, it was last year. There was an article. With the U.S. dying, Israel needs to look toward Asia for a new sponsor. For a new body to suck off of. And for some reason, India seems to really want to be it. I don't understand that whole India thing. I mean, America, you can understand. One, there's a lot of Zionist Jews in America, and then you got the Christian Zionists in America. You can understand that connection. Plus, how many American are settlers in Israel? You can understand that kind of connection, at least where it comes from. The Indians, I have no idea why they would.
They can unite over their hatred for Muslims.
Yeah.
Well, that can't be enough to be fine.
No, it's not. There's actually a really great book that I would recommend. It's called Hostile Homelands, about the relationship between India and Israel. I had no idea. Like, they're close for other reasons. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I can't understand. I'm just looking around. It's like, why? Geopolitics? I mean, why? Geography doesn't make any sense. History doesn't make any sense. Religion, I mean, there's about 70-80 million Orthodox or Eastern or Oriental Orthodox in India, but they have no connection to Israel, particularly not to the state of Israel. So again, why? But they seem to be very intent on it.
Yeah, you're right. Let me ask you, before we let you go, what channels do you have? Where can people find you? Because everybody's asking that. They're loving you in the chat here.
Oh, yeah, cool. It's 6,000 people like, holy crap, when you said that. Okay, so on X, it's Stanislav Krapivnik, not Stanislav. It's Stanislav. We couldn't fit the whole name in. We Russians love our long names. That's why we get so smart. You got to learn to write your that's not the whole name. The whole name is Stanislav Mikhailovich Krapivnik. That's your whole name.
Yes.
That's your which is Stanislav, son of Michael Mikhailovich, and then your family name. So we like our long names. By the time you learn how to write them, you got to get smart just to learn how to write your own name. So that's one. Then sorry about that. On YouTube, at Mr. Slavic Man, Slavic with a K, and I'll just straight up, I'm being shadow banned. I'm pretty damn sure because the number of people that are signed up is growing, but the number of views is falling. So and sharply from the previous. I mean, you can notice it by amount, and people are just writing in there. I'm not getting any updates, so just you have to check because YouTube's obviously doing the YouTube thing. And then on X, it's the Russian channel is Stas Tudaya Obratna, and the English channel is Stas Was There. And then Substack, Zmei Gorinich, which is for those who don't know, Zmei Gorinich is a three-headed dragon in Russian mythology. That's but all the other cool names were already taken, so I started scrambling around. Where else can I? Damn it, this is taken, that's taken. Ah, frick. Okay, so got this Zmei Gorinich show wasn't taken. Okay, so at least I got something.
At least you didn't put down Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
That's 100% that would be taken.
Yes.
Because I mean, Keanu Reeves is Baba Yaga, right? So
Well, thank you so much, Stan.
Thank you so much, brother, for coming on. Always a pleasure.
Yep.
Good to see you, and hope to see you soon. Keep in touch.
Yeah, and be careful on your trip.
Yes, I will. Thank you. We haven't
revealed
anything,
careful.
but I will be careful.
No details.
Yeah, and I'll be careful on my trip.
Yes, and you be careful on your trip. I wish I was joining you.
Next time you will.
Next time. Take care, brother.
Right.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Lots of love. See ya.
It's the Irish goodbye. Goodbye. Hello.
Goodbye.
Super chats. Thanks again, Mo. Happy Sunday. Roy Cohn was gay, and some say he was in love with Donald J. Trump. Cohn died of AIDS. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
That's why I think there's a little bit more to that. We'll just leave it there. We don't know. We'll look into it and we'll keep you guys updated. I even don't know how to tell Iranian people to take care of their cultural artifacts, historical sites. They are. There's been a lot of I don't want to say propaganda, but there's a lot of media about the destroyed sites to get attention to them, and they're rebuilding.
I'm gonna plug something now. Hold on.
Oh, God.
Keep going. I'm gonna plug something. Hold on.
Oh, here's Haas. You're looking younger, Chris. Did they force you to have a haircut? Yeah. It was the beard. The beard makes him look old. Thank you, Abdi. I don't know what KES is. What is KES? Is that Kenya?
KES?
Yeah, what currency is KES?
Let's look it up. Hold on. Currency is
Kenya. I was right. Hey.
Not bad. Good job.
We are trying to, I said it in the last show, we're trying to launch DDG Africa. We have Uganda and Nigeria right now. If you want to get involved, I think I put it up. If you want to get involved in it, hit us back at DDG editor. That's our Substack editor. She's fantastic. Or you can hit me up anywhere you can find me. So DDG Africa is going to be coming. Thanks again, Roman. Are you ready yet?
I'm ready. Hold on. Here. Okay, right here. So I want to just plug this because this is yes, and Constantinople again came up again. I love it.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is a statement against damage to Iran's cultural heritage. This is from the Society of Iranian Archaeologists, and this was very important. This is from Iran, from a respected society of some of the most prominent Iranian archaeologists. If you haven't seen this, please take a look. And of course, yours truly also signed on to this. I should be, let me see if I can find myself here. There we are, right down here. Yes, because I am a fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society. I'm also a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society, Royal Anthropological Institute, and the Royal Numismatic Society, and an associate fellow of the Royal Historical Society. So there you go. There you go. All those post-nominals for us. But definitely share this with people. It's at iranianarchaeology.org, but it's very important that we continue to highlight the destruction of Iran's cultural and sort of intangible heritage. And we need to make sure that these are documented, and that hopefully there are war crimes that are eventually that incorporate all of this destruction, because this is criminal. This is criminal. Not only the mass murder of civilians, not only the destruction of civilian infrastructure and the targeting of civilian infrastructure, but also these cultural sites is a war crime.
Okay. So why is China blockading the Scarborough Shoal? Because the United States is blockading the Strait of Hormuz.
There you go. 1 for 1. 1 for 1.
Speaking of China, I started this. Professor Zhang says Russia will help retake Constantinople and give it to Greece.
Maybe when Greece stops
giving it back.
Maybe when Greece stops being allied with Ukraine and helping Ukraine to build naval drones that kill Russians. So
yeah, I don't know about all that. Professor Zhang is not always on the mark. Third Rome will beat Russia, Moscow only. I told that to people. They didn't believe me. It already is. Not will be. It already is. So thank you, Champ Amanda. Once you paid your house debt, roof of the house will meet the ground. Landlord already did calculate. Americans just have 2 names. That's it. Easy to hide, I guess. Sometimes use one name, sometimes another. No patronymic name. You guys are funny today. Okay. Next.
By the way, my patronymic. So now I'm like, in Russia, because I have a middle name, but also they use the patronymic. So it's Christopher Davidovich. Halali.
What would my dad's name is Christopher. So what?
So you would be Christoforovich.
Yes. Christoforovich. Well,
yes.
not.
Which is what my kids are. So there you go.
Christoforova.
Yes, Ovna for you. Sorry, yes, Ovna for you. Sorry, not Ovich. Ovich is for the men. Ovna for you. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Christopher Obna. All right, cute. I like it. I like it. Also, today we'll go into it more on Wednesday because we did fantastic research.
There we go. In the chat, you would be Christopher Ovna. Wow.
Pretty.
Christopher Ovna.
Today, the Isaac Accords were signed. Milei is visiting Netanyahu. Maybe if you guys need it or want it, I'll give you another big rundown on the Isaac Accords on Wednesday. Chris, will you be here on Wednesday or will you be traveling still?
I will be traveling for an extended time, but more to come on that for everybody.
Maybe
by
Chris
the way, and I won't necessarily, we'll see if I'll be able to be around. But what I do want to say is that we need another show at some point to talk about Milei and Patagonia and Project Andinia, because he touched the wall again today. He's there.
Again, I need to do this. All right, I'll do it again.
We need to, because people are,
they're eating. By the way, they're eating donkey in Argentina right now. They're teaching people how to kill and butcher and cook donkeys because they have no meat.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. Libertarianism. That's just your brain on libertarianism. We're eating donkeys and kissing walls.
Yikes.
And other than that, enjoy the rest of your Sunday if you're not in Moscow and it's Monday already.
Nice to see you all. Always a pleasure. I'll be in touch very soon. Big news coming up. And keep your minds open, stay sharp, and stay safe. And be well.
Until then. Oh, we have an outro. Wait, we have a good outro.
Right.
You guys enjoy this and
Kissing ass for a deal, drinking black gold. Tell me, how does it feel? Dirty lips, oil drips. You're losing the grip, thirsty for the nap while you're sinking the ship. Plan A starts, Trump brings the clown. A puppet joker trying to burn the town. Crates of guns, money for the riot. Did you really think our streets gonna stay quiet? Lionhearts united, we stand like a wall. The traitors escaping, watch them all fall into the trash can, the bin of the past. Plan A is dead and it didn't even last. But it's ready to die. Commander says chill, holding up the fat tie. Hypersonic straight screaming out, yalla! Bases are burning. Put the dark shades on. Persian game, baby. Your options are gone. On the table, bringing the big bow, thinking they could choke us, we got them by the throat. Boys in the shorts playing under the sun, now they're shitting their pants, the nightmare's begun. Quorum shot strikes, watch the fire in the flash. Your $1 billion fleet is just turning to ash. You just got robbed. Trump is out of breath, BB under the desk, gay scared to death. Paparazzi and the secret is out. Epstein Island, baby. That's what you're about.